What's up, cool people? I'm Matt Conroy, and I've been sitting on this video topic idea for a while because I wanted to sort of compile some information to make it a bit more interesting and varied. Basically, this video is going to be about possibly unexpected things regarding money that you might not have known about. Like, for example, I'm going to start off with a really basic one. A fair number of people assume that a person's net worth is basically like, oh, that's how much money that they get in a year, or that it's like all the money that they would have on hand that they could just, use for whatever at a moment's notice. No. Net worth is, and I quote from Investopedia, net worth is the value the assets a person or corporation owns minus the liabilities they owe. So, for people like Jeff Bezos, who his net worth is over $100 billion. The thing is, that's not just money that he has lying around wherever. Most of that is tied up in stocks for Amazon, his own company. And that's really how the vast majority of billionaires, possibly around the world, but especially in the US, that's how the vast majority of billionaires become billionaires. They have a company that they own a majority of, or at least a large part of, and that company becomes huge, and their stocks are massive. So, yeah, net worth is not quite as simple as just having a bunch of money lying around. But a lot of rich people's net worth is tied to stocks. So it mostly ends up being dependent on the companies that they own. Like Bill Gates, a lot of that is tied to Microsoft. The Walton family, it's mostly tied to Walmart. And so on and so forth. But most of the rest of what I want to talk about is interesting stuff you could do or encounter when you have a lot of money, or even just facts about really rich people that you might not have known. The whole reason I thought of doing this video in the first place is because actually, as I was on a plane flying back here from Pennsylvania this summer, I was reading through the little, airplane magazine thing, and I was mostly just flipping through stuff, not really giving it any kind of care to most of what was on there. I would read, like, the first little sentence of certain articles to determine whether or not I was interested in it. But one thing that really caught my attention, and is the reason I want to do this video, is I realized that you can purchase citizenship to various countries. The one that I saw while I was reading through the magazine on the plane was you can buy citizenship to Antigua and Barbuda for, I think, $200,000. And there are benefits that come with this, such as tax exemptions. I don't know on what exactly, but it mentions, like, global tax exemptions. So, makes me wonder how many really, really rich people are doing stuff like this, buying themselves citizenships to other countries so that they can gain benefits from also being a citizen of that country. I mean, if you can get tax exemptions and stuff like that from it, then Lord only knows what other benefits you might gain from it. So, figured I'd pass that little tidbit of information along. That's just one of a few crazy things that rich people can do that is, like, impossible for the common person. So, another thing that I thought I would take a look at is So, capital gains. A lot of really rich people's capital gains are kind of tied to stocks or dividends or even like housing. But basically, when it comes to capital gains, which again, this applies to stocks and dividends and multiple other investment type money earning. But when it comes to capital gains, so short-term capital gains, anything that is where the investment is made over a course of less than a year, or maybe it's a year or less, I don't know. But anything that's short-term capital gains, that is taxed like regular income. Like regular, work, job income. But long-term capital gains actually get an easier tax rate. So long-term capital gains being basically anything over a year. Any investment of over a year. And the gain, in this case, is whatever the difference is between the value of something when you first got it and the value of it when you sold it. So, like I said, houses can fall into this actually kind of frequently. That's why house flipping is such a common thing. Where people will buy this really old, rundown, crummy house and just renovate it to make it look brand new and sell it off for way more than they bought it for. And hopefully for more than the combination of what they bought it for and what they paid to renovate it. But, again, capital gain taxes, the absolute most you can be taxed on capital gains, on long-term capital gains, is 20%. So, let's say somebody makes $1 million off of stocks that they've had for more than a year. The amount of tax that they would have to pay on that is $200,000. Now, keep in mind, $1 million would have to be the difference in, the value of their stocks when they bought the shares versus the value of them when they get sold. So, if that difference is $1 million and they sell off those shares, the tax they would have to pay on that is $200,000. Normal income tax for anything that is that high would have to be 37%. So there's $170,000 right there that's how much of a difference that it makes, earning money in capital gains versus earning money from just income. So then here's a real kicker. Charitable donations can earn you tax deductions. So, let's say this same person who earned $1 million in the stock market decides to give a bunch of that away to charity. How much would this person have to give away to zero out the taxes that would need to be paid from that $1 million stock income? Well, according to IRS.gov, you may deduct charitable contributions of money or property made to qualified organizations if you itemize your deductions. Generally, you may deduct up to 50% of your adjusted gross income. 50%. So, again, that's for the total of your income. So, this isn't quite how it works, but we're going to simplify the math here and assume that this $1 million in stock earnings is all its own self-contained thing. So, you gain $1 million from the stock market. You have $200,000 that you need to pay off in taxes. Well, if you donate $400,000 to a charitable organization, which, by the way, there are some exceptions to this, but just know the majority of charities would apply in this. Public charities, pretty much all of them apply for this. Oh, also, if you look at the deductibility status codes, it actually says if you pay in cash, it is a 60% deduction rather than 50%. So anyway, I'm just going to assume 50% to make the math easier. So if you donate $400,000 to a public charity, guess what? You don't have to pay anything for taxes out of the $1 million that you've earned. So by donating $400,000, you have $600,000 now that you have scot-free. No need to worry about paying any taxes or anything on it. $600,000. You don't have to pay taxes on it, and you're giving to charity, so you look like a nice person. And, you know, it does help people, so I'm not gonna, you know, rip on anybody for that. But this is the kind of stuff that really rich people can do, that it's like, you would not, the ordinary person has no access to this kind of thing. And never mind if you have, you know, dual citizenship somewhere else that gives you tax breaks already. Like, there's so much more than this, I'm sure. I imagine there are so many other layers of tax complexity in lieu of other taxes that, you know, I'm not aware of. Like, I'm assuming this is like personal earnings from something here, and not like some additional tax from, like, you know, because if you gain money from your company, but I mean, your company's earnings are supposed to be separate from your own earnings. Yes, your company's earnings can kind of allow you to give yourself a larger salary or something like that, but that's earned income that's taxed at the 37% rate, as opposed to capital gains, which are only at the 20% rate. So, yeah, the vast majority of money that really, really rich people make is from capital gains. Also, consider that the vast majority of rich people's net worth is typically tied to stocks of their own companies that they own. But aside from just the overall craziness of things that rich people can do with their money, I wanted to take a quick look at just really rich people and a couple of numbers related to really rich people. So, this next bit of info is going to come from Forbes. Everything else I've been reading up to this point has come from Investopedia or IRS.gov, or I guess the one thing about earned income tax brackets I got from a website called debt.org. But anyway, the rest of this is going to come from Forbes. And did you know, as of March 18th, 2020, Forbes counted 2,095 billionaires. 2,095 people with over $1 billion. Keep in mind, $1 billion is huge. Like, if you if you earned minimum wage, it would take you like 10 lifetimes plus. Okay, hang on a second. Matt from the future here. So, I went back and actually crunched the numbers on this after, you know, recording the initial video and that kind of stuff. So, at the current federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, assuming you have exactly a full-time job that works 40 hours a week, your earnings for a year would be $15,080. And that's just straight money earnings. That's not including any other benefits you might get or anything like that. But the other stuff is impossible to really accurately calculate in general, because that would vary area to area and job to job. So, at that rate, with that level of earnings every year, you want to know how long it would take to earn $1 billion? I massively undershot this when I said 10 lifetimes. So, hold up. Let me just... How much are we going to assume the average lifetime is? Like 80 years? Well, let's put it this way. It would take, again, at that federal minimum wage level of income, it would take 66,312 years to earn $1 billion. 66,000. A lot of people that think that the Earth hasn't even existed that long. Like, that is crazy talk. And if we're going lifetimes here, assuming an 80-year lifespan, you would need to live through almost 829 people in order to earn $1 billion. And we're talking people whose net worth is multiple billions here. This is insanity. Like, good grief. Anyway, back to old me to get to the rest of this video. So, 2,095 billionaires that account for a total net worth of $8 trillion. Again, as of March 18th, 2020. Of course, we all know Jeff Bezos ranks at the top, followed by Bill Gates. Out of the top 10 richest people in the world, according to Forbes, the United States accounts for 8 of the top 10. And such people include Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates. Mark Zuckerberg is number 4. We've got Warren Buffett at 6th. Elon Musk at 8. And yeah, those are the big ones that most people would know of. And yeah, that's not even getting into like families that own companies like the Waltons, who own Walmart. They, individually don't have, their net worth isn't quite as high individually, but if you combined all of them, I'm pretty sure they would have a higher net worth than even Jeff Bezos. So, yeah, just interesting / crazy stuff about money that I kind of wanted to throw at you because of this one little thing that I saw while reading a magazine on an airplane that I had no clue before then that you could buy citizenship to other countries and like get freaking tax breaks and stuff on it. It's actually possible to buy citizenship to the US, but it's more than Antigua and Barbuda for sure. I forget what the number is, but it's definitely more. But yeah, little bit of a different feel to this one. I know normally when I'm talking about a particular topic, I get kind of either really personal or like really ranty on something, or I have some kind of a, lesson or point that I want to make with it. This one is just kind of random tidbits of info that I figure a lot of people might not really know. The net worth one was probably the best known out of all of those facts, really. But anyway, yeah, so, like, the craziness that is being super rich is far beyond the comprehension of any common citizen. And it just floors me. some of the differences and like some of the things that are even possible for really, really rich people that are just completely not for 90 plus percent of US citizens, probably like 99% of the world's population. So anyway, that's going to do it for this time around. As always, like and share if you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you enjoyed this, and comment down below if you want to see more stuff like this that's more like fact-based and not so like ranty or personal. Like, I don't want to get all like mental floss on this, but I mean, if that's what y'all want, I'm willing to oblige, at least occasionally. I just might need some time to compile the info on stuff like that. Anyway, make sure you look down in the description for info on all the different ways to keep up with me here on YouTube, my various social media pages, which, as of late, my activity has been expanding a bit on social media. So now's a really good time to look down on that description for all the info. Anyway, and as I said before, leave comments, but it doesn't have to be just about this video, or if you want more stuff like this, you can leave me any ideas that you have down below in the comments. Or if you have any other facts to add to this about, you know, money or things that rich people can do that the rest of us poor schmucks really do not have access to. Whatever your thoughts, leave them down below. So that's it. Hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you for the next one. But until then, stay cool, people.